Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another Mid-Heaven podcast episode. This is your lovely, sexy chocolate host, the Peace Dealer, and I'm with my very special co-host.
Does that make me vanilla?
I mean, everyone. I didn't want to assume, you know what I'm saying?
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
I'm not very vanilla, but I'll be vanilla in this situation.
Okay.
That's fine. It's complimentary.
I didn't want to assume your pronoun flavor, so wanted to let you say that.
Well, thank you. She's not vanilla, but she's awfully white in this contrasting episode. Cheers.
Cheers.
We are back giving you guys your weekly insight and analyzing the stars for you. We have been talking a little bit about what we would think is like most interesting topics for the podcast, and I hear a lot of people who ask a lot of questions about the difference between the sun, moon, and rising.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a good question, right? Because that's like I always say that's like our ASL of our generation.
It is. I love it.
Right?
What do you feel about this, where instead of the sun, moon, rising, it's like Venus, moon, Mars?
Ooh, okay. Can we start with that first?
Right.
Okay, you go first.
Okay.
Your Venus, moon, and Mars. That's such a great question because I feel like
it was
that's
Venus,
more,
Mercury, Mars, but it's Venus, Mars, something.
That's more personal.
Right?
It's more personal. Right. Okay.
Yeah.
So what was it?
Taurus, Venus, Cap, Moon.
You have salt all over your lip. I can't stop looking at it. I have to say something because if I allow you to go this entire episode
with
Mike
white
is just
crust
now
on
learning how to drink a margarita. When I made it for him, he was like, "Wait,
what do I do with the salt?"
First? And I'm like, "Bitch, it's like a shot. Like lick it and drink it."
That was exactly what went down.
I'm sorry. I just have to tell you. I gotta make sure that you look good.
But yes, thank you, by the way. This is why she the best co-host, right? It's the best. It is what it is. And you know, I'm rocking with the Taurus Venus. So your boy is loyal. He likes food. I got the moon in Capricorn. I have no emotions. And then I got the Mars in Aries. So I last 5 seconds. But it's the best 5 seconds of your life. I'm telling you that right now. Bam.
Fucking giddy up.
Yup.
So wait, what was it again? We're like at a podcast and I've had a couple drinks. So it was Venus, Mars, and Moon.
Okay, so Venus, Mars, Moon. That's Taurus, Aries, Capricorn.
Okay. Venus in Capricorn. So I'm the fucking ice queen.
Right.
But really not, though, because it's kind of like my whole chart's like a walking contradiction. So my Venus is actually in the fourth.
Right. That's so deep. Right.
So it's like I'm super warm and bubbly, but then like when you're around me and you know me like personally, I'm not very warm and bubbly. I'm kind of like, yeah, I run a tight ship. And then Mars is in Scorpio. Fun fact, my Venus sextiles my Mars exactly. Yeah, so second to fourth house. And what's weird is that my Venus is conjunct Saturn and Neptune, and my Mars is conjunct Pluto. And then my moon is in Aries. That's why I'm fucking feisty as all hell. That's really the only fire that I have going for me. My South Node's in Leo, but
Mars, Pluto, Scorpio.
Yeah, I'm very Mars dominant. So it's like I feel like if I were to be like, "Hi, I'm Scorpio, Capricorn, Aries," somebody would be like, "So you're into whips and bondage?" Pretty much.
I realized with my moon in Cap, I apparently have like
daddy issues.
You
like being called daddy.
I do.
You do?
I do.
Yeah.
I really do. I really do. That'll do it for me. I was gonna say
something about Capricorn and they like being called daddy.
I'm a hidden dom. I'm realizing. I because I grew up really Gemini, so like the BDSM thing wasn't my flavor, and I kind of always felt I was like a vanilla. And now I'm realizing, no, I need a blindfold and a tie. Like I need to actually be in some control. Right. Not too deep yet, but like.
But Mars in the 12th is like so sexy. Like that's like, we were talking about this before the podcast started. Mm-hmm. I was like, so you like to dance like when nobody's watching, right? And you like to smoke because Mars in the 12th likes 12. They like smoke or haze or fog.
I mean, my Venus falls in the 12th and my Mars falls in the 11th, but Venus is the first house and then Mars is the 12th house. So Taurus is first.
Are you going off of Placidus or whole signs or equal?
If I go off of equal, Mars is in the 11th because my 12th house cusp is 27 degrees. If I go off a whole, it's in the 12th. If I go off of Placidus, it's in the 11th.
So your Venus is in the 11th, Placidus.
Oh, my bad. So for Venus, equal, it's in the 12th. Whole, it's in the 1st. Placidus, it's in the 12th. But I blend them. I kind of see it as like...
I don't know. I'm a rebel. I'm very Placidus. I feel like especially for like the cusp degrees are really important. And like Venus in the 12th is just like a super freak. It's also like the mark of a soulmate, like having a lot of karma with like a lot of other people. And like...
I like to feel I'm everyone's soulmate.
Mars or Venus in the 12th is like bedroom pleasure. So those people are usually pretty fucking freaky in bed. Usually.
I mean, I will not deny that. I'm just out of practice, as I like to say.
Do you send dick pics because you have Mars in the 12th?
You know what? That's a really good question because with my Mars, it's square Uranus exactly, but it's also square Neptune and Saturn. So every time Mars wants to do something, the Cap is like, no, this is not the right time. So I've inhibited it my whole life. I don't send dick pics because they don't work to me. I've had a Sagittarius friend, like double Sag, Aqua rising, be like, oh yeah, it's a numbers game. Like you just gotta, not everyone's gonna like it. You just gotta send it. You never know. And I'm just like, damn.
That's how you get your dick in circulation in a lot of group chats.
Oh yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
I was reading a thing the other day that was like it was just like an astrology forum and they were like, this is for science. Like, how do you tell if somebody has a big dick? And they were talking about a man's Mars aspects to Jupiter. And I was like, I don't know, I've never really like looked at it like that, but I guess that kind of like makes sense to me. I mean, I have Mars aspects to Jupiter and I have a huge dick.
I've only
Huge.
right. I've only sent 3 dick pics in my life. The first was in high school, and that was because, you know, in high school I thought, you know, you just got to get pics. So it was like, I asked this one girl for a pic, and she's like, well, can I get a pic of your dick? And I was like, well, you sent me that. Well, you sent me that. And I sent that, and I never got it. So there was that. That was the first time. The second time was when they just started Snapchat.
Okay, so that was like the high time of like dick pics because you could send one for like 3 seconds and then it would vanish.
Then it would vanish, yes.
Unless you were quick on your screenshot game.
So I had sent one to a Sagittarius lady I had already had sex with, but then I also sent one to a Leo lady with Mars on my sign that I was interested in. And in my head, I was like, okay, she's gonna see my dick. She's gonna want to have sex with me. I was thinking with my dick.
It's so funny how men think that. Like women have seen so many penises, and we can go on the internet and see whatever we want. God. So you gotta jazz it up a little bit. Like you gotta put your dick next to a remote for like size comparison.
There we go.
Like we gotta see some.
Get creative.
You gotta get creative with it. Okay.
So I mean, of course, the Sagittarius lady, shout out to her. She laughed. He was like, okay. Leo lady called me a dumbass and got mad, and then it hit me like, oh shit, I probably shouldn't have done that. And yeah, I never sent any more after that. But personally, I'm not really a fan of pics because I don't feel like I'm learning more to flirt, you know, and kind of like, you know,
you gotta drag it out a little bit.
Exactly.
You gotta drag it out a little bit because if you drag it out a lot, like that's when girls are gonna be like, nah, there's something wrong here. Like, haven't seen his dick, haven't slept together. He's really nice. He has a job and a good credit score. He has a micro penis. Like, that is a thing. Like, if you wait too long, if you play the game too long, that's when we're like, nah. Like, he owes dick. Like, there's something wrong with this. Because I have a theory. You can't have all three. You can't have a big dick, be successful, and good looking. Like, it's just not. It's not possible, right?
Well,
so the few people who
I must be ugly as hell. I must be ugly as hell then. Shit. I mean, I don't know. Fuck it.
All I'm going to say is the few unicorns who break that mold.
Oh.
The few unicorns.
You know what I learned about third decan Capricorn?
What?
That shout out to Aquarius Robert. So he told me the first decan was the goat. The second decan is the sea goat, and the third decan is the unicorn. Where my
We were
moon
talking
is.
about this, right?
Yeah.
Like third decan being the unicorn, and we talked about Scotland. Very interesting. So your moon's in the third decan.
Yeah, I'm
so
a
you're
unicorn.
a unicorn.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Unless I'm not successful and I'm beautiful, but yeah.
I don't know. It's just maybe it's me. Maybe I just like.
No, I mean,
Maybe I'm like
really,
jaded because I'm like 30 something now, and like.
And there's a reason people say that. There's
also a reason why like some guys sling really good cock, and it's because they're usually sleeping on a couch. I'm gonna be really honest, because if you need somewhere to sleep, or
not
like,
everyone's a unicorn like me. So I don't think she was lying. You feel me? Like, I'm just an exception.
They are out there. They are out there, but it's like an ongoing joke with like me and my inner friends, where we'll be like, "Oh my god," somebody will be like, "He's really successful and he's good looking," and I'm like, "You know what that means? Mm-mm. You know what that means?"
I mean, personally, like I'm not even. I don't ask chicks for pics because.
You can see what girls are working with. You can see what's going on there, unless
I
you have
like to
X-ray
touch it.
cock vision.
I like to touch it and be impressed. I don't want to like see it and be more frustrated. So, Mars and Aries, shout out to Big Sean. I know we met today, but I'm gonna need that shit today. Thank you. that's how I roll. If I don't have it now, I'm not interested later. It is what it is.
Impatient. Aries is
Yeah,
impatient.
I have to work on my patience. I'm not gonna lie.
So, getting on topic, we're gonna talk about the rising moon and sun sign. Sun, moon, rising. I like that order better. And what that
The new
really
ASL
means.
of this generation.
It literally is, though. Right? It really is. And it's funny because people who don't know shit about astrology will be like, "Oh yeah, I'm this, and this," but they don't know anything other than that.
And to me, that is such huge progress because 10 years
Culturally,
ago,
yeah.
oh yes, like it was everything for anyone. Like no one knew their moon sign 5 years ago. Like it was like pulling teeth. And now even if people say it reluctantly, I'm like, yes, you at least know. Like it means a lot.
And then there's the real OGs that are like, it's this aspect and that aspect, and it's in this house and it's that degree, and I'm like, fuck yeah.
That used to make my day when I would ask people their signs and they're like, oh yeah, my moon and rising is this. You know you're rising? Oh my God. Like, and I'll just have so much respect for you just because you know your rising and moon, which is like knowing your first and middle name.
So let's talk about the sun in astrology, and what the sun means.
The sun is like this beer, blazing. It is vitality. Blazing was the wrong word. This is very chill. The sun is your general awareness. So if you think of how your brain computes and processes, I like to see the sun as like a newborn baby that's just like, just sees everything. It's just pure vitality, it's pure heart, and it's just how you express everything that's inside you. So it's your life force and it's your spirit.
It's your heart, it's your creativity, it's your joy, it's
Success.
It's your success. It's very Leo-esque, right? Because it's the sun. So
And the strongest part of the chart.
depending on where the sun is placed in the horoscope, which house, and also which sign, it's going to tell you a lot about what the focus and the emphasis is on a personal level in that lifetime. So the way that I explain it is like the house is the area of life that you are talking about. The sign of the house is the lens or the filter
Or flavor.
and the flavor which it falls under, and then the planet is like more the action. So
Right.
the sun is going to be like, hey, this is important. Like when we think about our solar system, all the planets revolve around the sun. It's very important. It gives life and it feeds. So it's very much the boss of the natal chart.
If we were speaking a language, the planet is the verb, the zodiac sign is the adjective, and then the house is the where, the noun, the person, place, or thing. But really,
Is that a noun?
the place is a noun.
a noun.
But it's cool because planets.
Do you need me to give you mouth to mouth? Like what's going on over there? Hold on, put your arm up. Put your arm up.
I don't have coronavirus.
I hope
smoke
not.
weed. These are weed coughs. Planets can also be people too. So a planet can also be a noun because a planet can also be like a person, or but the house will be a place, and then
Right.
the planet can also be a verb. So yeah, the sun is also when you do dominance, right? I personally don't believe that any planet could be more dominant than the sun.
No, it's not possible.
Right.
It's not possible. As many times as I've looked at natal charts and no matter how many stelliums or angles or whatever, the sun is always going to play a huge role, and it's going to shine
on everything.
Yes, it will shit on everything else, because it's
Look at me.
well, and also we're both second house suns, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Bosses.
So we like nice shit.
Yes, we do.
Yeah, we're fucking ballers.
Making money.
Yeah, making money.
Right.
Eating, fucking sexing, smoking.
I just made 3 cryptocurrencies today. Gonna liquidate them and just circulate them. And yeah, see if I can somehow funnel money through there so I don't have to pay the IRS any.
That's the life. Yeah. That's the plan. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You're gonna make it work. But yeah,
you're made. You better dust something.
There we go. And that's what I think. A second house sons like to put people to work. And
yeah, but we always end up being the one working. Yeah. What the fuck?
Nice. It's individual.
What the fuck? I'm over it.
You know, as they say, you know, if you got to do something, got to do it yourself.
If you got to do something right, you got to do it yourself. Ain't nobody going to do it the way I'm going to do it. I fucking cook well. I smell good.
So the sun is the conduit, right? This is where any planet the sun is conjunct, you now have the power of that energy. You can think of it like a superpower. Like if your sun is on any energy, you're literally providing light and power to that planet to shine through or use.
And not a lot of people realize, like, when you start really learning about your natal chart, you'll be like, I'm a Taurus, or I'm a Sag, or I'm a Gemini. Yes, you are. But we look at a dozen plus other placements in your astrological chart. And also, the house that it lands in is going to give it a flavor. So when we talk about our sons being in the second house, while he may be a Gemini and I'm a Scorpio, we act like a Taurus. We have Taurus aspects. We like nice things. We value things. We want physical things. We want to eat. We want to smoke. We want to enjoy ourselves. We want to make money. We like flowers. We like luxury. We like nice things. So when you're looking at your chart, you may be an Aquarius, but if your sun is in the 5th house, it's going to have a Leo flare.
Right.
So that's where you start to separate this kind of like armchair, like fucking bullshit, like cosmopolitan horoscopes from what we do, which is really analyzing and taking a look at the natal chart and being able to really understand who that person is in this reincarnation.
And if you want to get a little more advanced with it, because like my sun does fall in the 1st house, technically, it's still, I honor the house. So it still is a 2nd house Gemini cusp. So even though my sun falls in the 1st, I do kind of act like an Aries too. I'm very impulsive. But I feel like even though it falls in the 1st, it still is ruled by that Taurus energy. Mm-hmm. So the Aries qualities I have supplement the Taurus.
Well, sun in the 1st house also does have an Aries flare, and those people, they walk into a room and they light a room up.
Yeah. Right?
No matter where you are or what else is going on in your chart, that solar energy in the 1st house demands a lot of attention and a lot of energy versus the 2nd house, which may be slow in integrating their wealth. They're slow in building wealth. They're slow in really being able to work with things on an earthly kind of plane. Like these may be people who like to cook, or they like to garden, or they like to build things or create or craft. They're artistic, they're creative. It's traditionally a Venus house.
You can blend all the energies too.
Yeah.
In the houses.
Yeah. It's like astrology's, I mean, and then the 3rd house being more like that Gemini vibe, communicative, chatty, busy, mutable. 4th being more emotional and reminiscent, I would say, or focused more on domestic sphere or the inner world, or the end of life.
Inner world for sure. Yeah. So are we going through the houses?
Sure, why not?
All right, cool. So if we start with the ascendant, so the sun, of course, is the expression of you. It's how we take what our moon sign is and we express it out. And then the rising is your personality, right? Your physical appearance. Any planets on the rising, whereas you have the power with the sun, you're an instrument of. For example, Mercury is right next to my rising, so I'm an instrument of communication. Words, they just flow out. Open my mouth, all sorts of shit comes out. Smart shit, dumb shit, fuck it. But the rising definitely is the sign on the horizon when you were born, but it really sets the rest of the house systems very well. And I underestimated the quality of how influential it is. So the difference between the sun and moon to me is like perspective versus reality. So like the sun will give you the general awareness of what's happening, but then the rising will let you know how you perceive what you're aware of.
And how people perceive you, right? 'Cause
Right.
the way that I see the rising, so the rising is calculated specifically through the time that you were born and where the sun was rising or setting at the time of your birth. That's
Right.
in layman's terms. And depending on the sign that is your rising sign is not only the mask that you wear, right? If you were to go on a first job interview or on a first date, it's how people perceive you. Sometimes people are more likely to perceive you based off of your ascendant than your sun or your moon sign. But your ascendant also talks about how you came into this world, the way that you came into this world. It does talk about your appearance. It does talk about the lens and how you navigate your life, but how you see others. It lays the path before you in how you grow and how you evolve. And it definitely should not be underestimated. When you're reading your horoscope, when astrologers write horoscopes, first of all, we're not just writing horoscopes for the sun sign, and many people will read their horoscopes and go, well, it doesn't really apply. Your ascendant is going to talk about what will physically happen. So getting in the habit of reading your ascendant sign and then reading your sun sign can be very helpful because it will talk to you about what's physically going to happen, and you can integrate the transits to your ascendant. Then you look at your sun sign and how you can navigate that part of your life or integrate its advice to making yourself more fulfilled or happier or more complete.
And let you know where things happen in your life as well, which is eerily accurate and in the most amazing of ways.
The ascendant is so interesting to me. It's just, I kind of feel like throughout my life and what I've seen a lot with my clients is just, you're born with this awareness more so of your sun sign, but as you get older and as you grow more into the experiences that stem from your ascendant and also the ruling planet of your chart, because your ascendant is going to definitely dictate who your chart ruler is depending on the planet that rules that particular sign.
You can't sleep on the chart ruler. I've done that before, and I still do that because as a Gemini sun, and I'm glad you mentioned that because I've always pondered, like, what is a stronger rulership, your sun or your rising?
Your rising always.
And you're going to notice the sun rulership more, but the rising definitely has proven. I know and everyone's different. For me, my rising is 12th house to my sun. So I'm not always aware of my rising like I could be. But for anyone who wants to like a good analogy of.
That's interesting. Didn't mean to cut you off. Mine is too.
Right.
I never thought of it that way.
Oh, yours is. Yeah. Second house suns. Right.
Yeah.
So your whole physiology is now transcendent. And it's actually like legendary because you lead with your conscious awareness and your body kind of like.
So here's an
guides
idea.
Itself.
What about when the ruler of your chart meets with the ruler of your sun? Because right now that's happening for you today.
That's deep. Oh, yeah.
Mercury and Venus are
in
conjunct
transits.
today in Gemini for you.
I will say I feel pretty aligned, and I feel, and it's near my sun natally too.
Yeah.
So I mean, I feel really hopeful. Last time around this year, since Gemini is my second house, I did a unique random ad campaign that wasn't meant to be an ad campaign, but like I would do readings for people, and with their permission, I would post them on my page. And that like exploded my sales last year. And that helped me see, an idea helped me make more money. Second house Gemini.
Right.
So that definitely, I'm looking forward to that this year. And I'm already seeing it happen this year. But yeah, like with the rising, we could say like the sun is your objective awareness. So like if there was a bird's eye view from the sun's perspective, that would be your sun sign. But then the rising would be your perspective of what's occurring.
Yeah. I mean, I've never really thought about until I just asked you like the meeting of I guess the meeting of the rising and also the sun. So like I'm a Libra rising, so it's Venus, and then my sun is Scorpio. So maybe that makes sense why I'm like really looking forward to like the Mars Venus conjunctions in Leo this year. And then you can get even deeper
with your moon's ruler.
Yeah, with your moon's ruler, which in my case is also Mars. Yours is Saturn. Mm-hmm. But Saturn is in positive aspects to all that stuff right now.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, the rising sign, to me, I mean, and this is like coming from somebody who has 4 planets in Scorpio. I'm very proud to be a Scorpio, but yeah, the older that I've gotten, the more that I've seen that I have grown into my rising sign and learning really to kind of like lean on that. And I feel like as we get older, post 30, then you start to really unfold and kind of like open up and like really examine your moon sign and like kind of really realize, especially because the moon is traditionally the ruler of the 4th house, and that's like the end of your life and the inner world. And what people don't realize is the moon is the most unstable part of your chart. Even if it is not aspected, your moon is the most unstable because the moon changes signs every 3 days ish. Like the tide, it changes. It's very moody. It comes and it goes and it fluctuates a lot, and it's of an emotional moon nature. There are cycles. So your moon, wherever it's placed, is where sometimes there can be the most triggers, the most aspects, the most turnover, things like that.
Facts. And, you know, I love what you said about 30 because Saturn's on my moon. So I didn't really fully unlock the knowledge of my moon until my Saturn return. And now that I'm 30, I feel like I'm starting to understand my moon like never before. But I actually have another question for you because I can accept that, you know, you have your moon, sun, and rising. But I've been struggling to accept with like, are you your moon sign and you have your sun?
Vedic would argue that your moon sign is the most important.
Right.
Because Vedic a lot of Vedic astrologers, yes, they will talk about the ascendants, yes. But from my interpretation, there's been more focus and emphasis put on the moon sign and then the ascendant sign in Vedic astrology, which is totally different than Western. I feel like it's important to definitely at least get that insight, look into your Vedic placements. Really, the interpretations aren't really all that different than Western astrology. It's just everything is like turned back one sign. So, and then they have like all like the
23-degree delineation,
nakshatras, and like all of like the degree astrologies, which is very fascinating because it's very in depth, and that's what a lot of Western astrology lacks, is that understanding and the integration of these specific degrees, because there's 29, 30 degrees of each sign. So they have that mythology and like the stories and like the deities that really kind of go deep into that I feel like a lot of Western astrology lacks. Which
nakshatras applied to Western astrology is crack cocaine. It's
once you start doing like the I mean, in a way we do have it. We have the deacons of the astrology of like the first
which are really
3,
accurate,
and then each deacon is gonna relate to a specific planet. So it's like, but this is some really fucking like you're up until 3 a.m. on astrology forums shit. Like once you get really deep down the astrology rabbit hole, there's no going back, and like once you've absorbed a little bit, you just keep digging and digging and digging.
That happened to me with the decans, where I realized, holy shit, Mercury is in the decan of Saturn, and my Saturn is in the decan of Mercury, and it trines, and so like they're linked, and like that really helped me start to notice that in other people's charts, as far as like how
plays an important role planetary wise,
and how nothing is random. How like
you'll see repetitive patterns. I mean, that's what's so cool about astrology, is that whether you're looking at, you know, the specific decans, or you're looking at the progress chart, or you're looking at the solar return chart, or maybe you're looking, I mean, at your solar return, your lunar return, whatever, the patterns will repeat. So if there are degrees or certain themes that are going to keep coming back, they will keep coming back.
That's what's so fascinating about reading charts, when you kind of uncover that. For example, like I have Uranus in the first decan, Neptune in the second decan, Saturn in the and Moon in the third, and Uranus squares Mars in the first decan. With Mars in the first, Venus trines, or Neptune trines my Venus in the second, and then Moon Saturn trines my Mercury, and it's like, how did that get set up to the point where like they're directly linked like this?
Yeah, you're so like Saturn dominant. Well, also, isn't the first decan of Capricorn like double Capricorn?
Yeah.
It's like double Saturn, right?
Double Saturn.
So it's like all of my Cap planets are between 2 and 10 degrees of Capricorn.
So it's all first decan.
Yeah, and it's an exact opposition to Jupiter at 10
So
in Cancer.
Venus is 10.
Yeah. No,
Okay.
I have Uranus at 2, Venus at 6, Saturn, Neptune at 10, in opposition to Jupiter at 10.
Okay, there we go.
So and I've definitely seen that Saturn Neptune opposition to Jupiter play out a lot throughout my life. It's just been a lot of like flip flopping.
Okay, you know what I learned about the Saturn Jupiter opposition that I just realized? Because for the longest time, I wondered why I would Kanye shit, in the sense where like I would get really happy or something would excite me, and then as soon as I get excited,
You contract.
yes,
Yeah,
it's like
expansion,
this
contraction.
evil energy that's like, fuck your happiness, like fuck that,
Yeah.
and it's like, oh, I'm sorry.
And it's even harder because it's conjunct Chiron.
Yes.
Yeah. Yep.
I started to think something was wrong with me, and then I was like, oh, Jupiter's opposite Saturn.
I think a lot of people who have from like the 1989, 1990 who have the Jupiter Saturn opposition, it's hard.
It's like you get to a certain point. I can't
High,
even
high,
laugh
low,
at jokes.
lows. High, low, lows.
Because I'll reach a certain level, and then I just like,
Yeah,
it's like,
it
what the
pulls
fuck?
back in. It grounds out the Jupiter because Jupiter is exalted in Cancer.
Yeah.
So it definitely grounds that out a little bit. And Saturn conjunct Neptune is not necessarily a negative aspect depending on where it
Super
lands in the
psychics.
chart. It's very psychic. It's very grounded. It's very practical. So it kind of reins Jupiter in a way. But I don't know. Like I started thinking more and more about like moon signs, like you were asking. And it's taken me a long time to resonate with my moon sign. I feel like moon signs are definitely later in life, what we start to integrate emotionally, what we start to kind of realize is our emotional patterns. It's our natural, like animalistic response to
Which
things.
I love that your moon's in Aries, because I would have assumed that, given that like the signs vary by ages, whatever's the youngest activates at that age, and then as you get older, that
Don't get it
activates.
twisted. I'm an emotional terrorist. I'm very immature. I also get angry very quick, and then I get over it very quickly too, which is super common.
Moon
to
and Aries are mean as fuck. Oh my gosh, y'all are the meanest. I was obsessed with the Mars and Aries, Moon and Aries Capricorn woman. She was the biggest bitch. She's still sexy as fuck, and I want her to have all my children. But still, like, she's so fucking mean.
We have
Oh
to
my
be
God.
though. Aries moons.
She blocked me and all that shit.
I feel like Aries moons are meaner than Aries suns and Aries rising.
They are.
We're
Y'all
bullies.
are.
We're bullies.
Y'all really
But
are.
that's how we show affection. Is
True.
we'll like pick on people, but God
Mercilessly.
help you if you pick on them.
Oh my god.
If you pick on them, they're like emotional crybabies.
Holy shit.
And we
yeah.
like to drive fast and cuss people out, and like we like to just like set things on fire. Like thank God I have a Libra rising, because I have learned how to kind of tame it a little bit. And like I said, my chart's skewed because my moon's in my 7th, but I'm giving
Libra
myself more
risings.
permission the older that I get to just be like, fuck you, because my moon's in Aries, and just sometimes just like have conflict with people, because I'm learning that
That's
that
a cardinal
conflict
sign thing.
is necessary to basically cut off dead relationships and people who aren't willing to get with it.
That's exactly me, but instead of saying fuck you, I'm just saying no.
I'm still learning how to say no.
Yeah.
I'm still learning how to say no. It's been hard for me with my rising sign, but my progressed rising is about to move into Scorpio, and Lilith is coming up on my ascendant. So I'm about to just fucking put hexes on everybody because I don't give a fuck.
Shout out to Lilith and Scorpio. We do not play. My true Lilith is in Sag, but I got my mean in Scorp. For what it's worth. I think it's awakened the inner Brujo in me, but
What do you think about the moon sign and how people may show that in their face? Do you believe that?
so the moon sign definitely is, you get to know the moon when you know somebody. It definitely is somewhat hidden because the rising and the sun will take over. So I feel like the moon is like, I feel like there's a direction too. So like energy flows from your moon sign because you react to experiences. So first you process that, right? And that process, you're aware of it with the sun, you process it with Mercury, and then you feel about it in the moon. And then based on how you feel about it, you process your feelings, and then you communicate that through your sun. And so it goes like moon, Mercury, sun, sun, Mercury, moon.
I feel like I'm just stubborn. I'm just stubborn.
No,
and for me, because I'm a fixed sign, but my moon it quincunxes my sun.
Right.
So I'm constantly in this state of like, do I agree with this? Does this work for me? No, gotta change it. So there's been a lot of turnover.
And you and I have two different types of quincunxes, which I think is very misunderstood and not as spoken of or really known. So I love that you brought that up, because there's the closing quincunx, there's the opening quincunx.
Mine's the opening quincunx.
Right.
Yeah, which is pretty crisis oriented. Brought on by myself wholeheartedly.
Okay.
But also through the moon ruler of my 10th, located in my 7th, quincunx, my second house sun, for those of you guys who are astrologically capable. I've had a lot of relationships in my life. And through those relationships and being a Libra rising, it's made me realize what I value, what my non-negotiables are, what's important to me, what I need for security. And through a series of relationships, realizing that the one that's going to work best for me is with somebody who shares my values, both in a sense of what I need for security.
Right.
But the one who wins is the one that supports my career. My 7th and my 10th house.
7th and 10th. Yeah. So you have pure values. I have true values, which is awesome.
Yours is all 8th house to first. Right. Your 8th house moon to your first house sun, technically.
Okay, so I'm glad you said that.
Closing.
So I'm glad you said that, because mine is the closing. So my sun falls in the first house, and let's talk about that. So the way I like to interpret things is where my sun does fall in the first house, but it's a second house sun, because Gemini is my second house. So it's kind of like a East Brunswick police officer that's chilling, or it's like a Las Vegas cop that's chilling in Reno, or that's chilling in like Summerlin, right? But his jurisdiction's in Vegas, right? So it might be first house, but it's expressly second house. So I'm glad you said that. It is definitely closing quincunx, but this is where I just kind of blend both. But this is where you have two first houses, and the sun's your first house, but the rising is your true first house. So this is where, based on the sun first house, right? Because the sun, everything revolves around the sun, my moon in Capricorn is an 8th house moon relative to my sun in Gemini. But that 8th house moon in Capricorn falls in my 9th house. So I have like an 8th house moon in the 9th house in Capricorn.
So the closing quincunx of your moon to your sun, do you feel like you isolate yourself from partnerships and domestic unions because you...
I put up unreasonable walls that block out intimacy, because as much as I have always desired and have been obsessed with partnership, I realized after the fact that
you're like, nah, fuck that.
Yeah. Basically, it's like, I want to be with you.
And that's the
I just don't want to have to date you and be intimate with you, but still have sex with you, but but
go on to your own house.
Right. There we go.
Okay. So quincunx is an in-between. It's the in-between angle between an opposition and a trine. So an opposition being challenge, a trine being easy. This is that segue as it's actually coming up into the opposition.
Different element and different state.
Your moon trines your ascendant.
Yes.
So that's the way out.
That's the way out.
So you need an older woman who's a witch.
And you know what? Yes, that's a fact. That's a fact. I mean, and I'm not gonna lie, like I'm not opposed to dating younger women, but it's really that specific archetype. And even if they're a younger woman, if
they gotta be mature,
right? Exactly. If their soul is like
grown,
and a witch. But like other than that, even if, because I know there are women who aren't really witches, but they're still witches and they don't know they're witches.
All
right?
women are witches. They're super weird and they have their own like little rituals.
Everyone has their own rituals, right? I would totally agree with that.
Yeah.
And personally, like the thing with inconjuncts like her and I is that the sign is the signs are different elements and they're different states. So it's not like a square where they clash, but they're the same state. Like they don't get together.
Yeah, they don't understand, and they have to be. You have to work it out. They have to be reckoned with, and so
the Gemini craves
the
companionship.
Closing is so much easier than the opening because
really?
Yeah, because my openings in Aries and it's in the 7th, and I feel like I'm like, yeah, I want a relationship, and I'm like, leave me the fuck alone.
The Gemini craves companionship, and the Capricorn is like, get the fuck out of my face.
But it's the same thing with Scorpio and Aries, where Scorpio is very possessive, and it's like, no. This belongs to me. You belong to me. This is mine. But I'm going to do whatever I want. And I need my independence.
Oh my God,
or like,
that's wild.
we can have money together, but don't touch mine. Like, I don't want to share with. I don't want to share with anybody ever. I'm like very untrustworthy. So. It's been through the transits of the oppositions with Uranus and Taurus and all of that stuff now coming up on my moon and my Mercury. I think I've realized that like 2 is better than 1.
Yeah.
And so the opening I feel like is so much easier than the closing, because closing more so represents for you. It's like if you don't overcome it, you will choose to be alone.
Yeah, that's facts.
Yeah.
In fact, sometimes the Capricorn's been training me to just be alone. Like, hey, you don't have to be in a relationship. And the Gemini's like, but I want to. Like, what the fuck? So
Geminis change their relationships, like change their underwear.
I'm not gonna lie, we like variety. I saw a fucked up meme that was saying, Gemini, if Gemini gets married, they'll hit you up like, I wanted to marry you.
Though.
Guilty as charged. I would do some shit like
that. But
that.
have you said that to somebody? I've had 2 Gemini say that to me. Okay, I've had 2 Gemini say that to me, and I'm like, fuck you.
I'm not gonna lie. When I saw that, I was like, I would say some shit like that. Like that.
Fucking bullshit. Yeah. That's some Venus and Gemini shit too. Like, I was gonna marry you. Yeah. Okay. Whatever.
But you didn't want to fucking bite the bait. So.
I would never marry a Gemini. No shade to Geminis, but I could never. I would go to jail. I would go to jail.
Actually, that's true. The Capricorn and Scorpio and Virgo, like, if y'all hated us, y'all are actually allowed to hate us. The rest of y'all,
I love Geminis because they're always like, this is nice, this is shiny, this is exciting, but like, I have no mutable in my chart, so I just can't.
Oh, you're right.
I can't. I don't understand. Like, when I say something, I do it, and when somebody changes their mind, I'm like,
the only thing mutable I'd have no mutable except Sun in Gemini, and that's what let me know that the Sun is so strong, because like, everything else is in cardinal and fixed. In fact, if I didn't have Venus in Taurus, if I didn't have Moon in Capricorn,
you'd be living under a bridge.
I would cheat on women like this. I would date multiple women and not even give a fuck. Like, I got the Mars in Aries. I'd be like, so what the fuck? But I got the Venus, the Earth holds me. I love
Venus and Taurus.
It grounds me so much, right? And like I don't like anything other than monogamy, which is where I can't date multiple people because the Taurus is just so focused.
You just want somebody to just like cook for you and just like cuddle you and be your mommy.
I mean, I wouldn't mind that. I could provide and be Papa too. I got the Cap Moon, but like,
I love Cap Daddies. I love men who have placements in Capricorn because they're like, that's some baller shit. We don't
play. I'll say
don't
that.
Play.
But see, it's because of that I keep to myself, because we don't want to like waste our time.
Right.
No one wants to waste their
I have
time.
Venus in Capricorn. You're preaching to the choir.
True.
Yeah, I will. I am my own rich husband. That's what I tell a lot of people. I am my own rich husband, which is fine. It's totally okay. But it's like, for me to even remotely kind of like somebody is like, that still freaks me out because I'm so like self-reliant. But
it is what it is. I mean, and that is a small sneak peek of the sun, moon, and rising, just to give
you guys some insight because people will talk about it, but nobody really understands. So just as a recap, do your research, look deeper into your natal horoscope, take a look at where these placements are in your chart. Maybe you don't know how to understand that. You can hop on astro.com and take a look. There's lots of helpful free information on there. Or book a reading with one of us. You can check out Mike at The Peace Dealer, and you can find me at Candace Beyond the Veil Tarot and Divination, or Beyond the Veil Tarot and Astrology. I think our links are probably below, so if you want to book with us, you're more than welcome to.
Cliff Notes version. The moon is your inner world. The rising is your body, and your sun is how you express your inner world through your body. Boom.
Yeah, and don't just put so much focus on your sun horoscope or your sun astrology. That's one piece of the puzzle. Look deeper, look at your rising, look at your moon, look at your Mars.
Think of everything as like the seasoning that influences your sun, and that's why you're different from any other sun sign. Boom.
Yeah. And I don't know, especially when I think about like Scorpio suns or moons, Yeah.
Scorpio anything is super sexy. So shout out to you Scorpios out there if you wanted to molest me or stalk me.
Apply within.
Let me take that back because some of y'all be showing up at my door. So
a lot of people are showing up at your door and they're sending you messages. I live for those messages, by the way, where you send me crazy things that women send you.
I love how I run into Pisces magically. That happened last night. I ran into somebody and like we were walking and we just intersected and I was about to light up and he was running. And so he had like kind of turned and then we kind of talked for a little bit. And I gave him that to hit. And he was like, I probably shouldn't tell you this after I'm hitting this, but you kind of attractive. And I didn't really say anything. He said I saw you, but I wasn't like stalking you. I didn't peep.
If it's coming from a man.
Well, see, that's the thing. Like, I didn't really feel uncomfortable because I kind of pieced up. Actually, he said that too after I said that I live alone. So, you know.
He was like, hey, I can host. Hey.
Right. So I let him, I was like, that's cool. Peace out. Like, I wasn't like running away. I just kind of like finished the conversation. And then I walked away like, I'm not going to get offended. That's the fucking truth.
No, the gay man's hitting on you.
I'm fucking good looking.
Huge compliment as a straight man.
Right.
That means that
I still got it. That's how I was walking through.
You
right.
clearly took a shower and you've like got it.
That's what I felt. I felt like a middle-aged woman that realizes she still got it and she's still sexy in the streets.
Stella got her groove back, huh?
Y'all stay blessed as always.
Well, until next time, guys, we'll see all of you very soon. Like, comment, subscribe. Please check out our links below. We will see you guys all next week. Take care.